So what we do is we look at this and we go, you know what, Craig, you need to stop doing this. Kind of sucks. You're making me feel bad about all my broken bits. You know, right? Mm.
Depends on how I put the knee.
Oh yeah, the angle you put your knee, right? So here's the thing, right? So if Jacques is working, do you swing right-handed usually? Do you play from the right side? Okay, so we know he's got a knee issue. I'm going to modify your stance in such a way that when you move, maybe take that left foot, turn it out just a little bit. You do that? Yeah, so that way it helps his knee to go through there, right? So what we're going to do is now we're going to do what I call the spin, because to me, the golf swing, like this is a swing, right? And what we do better in this sport is rotary. So I call it a spin. So think about the evolution of shot put. You guys may not be experts at shot put, but basically when it started, you took this big heavy thing and you stood here and you just went, huh. And then the next guy came along and said, I can do better if I shuffle and chuck it. And then the next guy came along and said, no. If I start doing this, I can make it go even further. So what we've been able to do in all sports is become more athletically efficient. So if you're very, very efficient, you're going to tap into whatever technique you can use to propel the tool more consistently and faster, right? So when you rotate, you're able to transfer greater amounts of energy in a shorter space to the ball than if you try to go sideways. And what John Brinkus shared with me last night was you can actually, the Happy Gilmore actually works because you combine lateral motion with rotational speed and you add another element to that, right? We don't want to do that. We don't want to be hopping and skipping and doing the Happy Gilmore. What we're going to do is we're going to improve our rotation. So again, you have a choice. So Jacques, what I want you to do on this one, while you're working on that and you can't quite get it down, I want you to take your arms and cross it in front of your chest. It's like you're holding a baby and then you just kind of put your arms up here. Yep, so this is a modification, right? So if you want to, if this feels okay, drop it back behind the shoulders, and then what you're going to do is just kind of spin. And then what I want you to do, otherwise, if it's hard for you to do that, just kind of hold it up like that and go ahead and move, right? So what we're going to notice, again, and one of the coolest places that you can do this at home is right in front of the mirror. And you won't notice right away, but what you'll start to see is you'll start to see, oh, okay, I'm like Violet over here, right? So she's got both arms down, but that doesn't look symmetrical, right? And then as she goes through further one direction than the other, right? So then you start to notice these things, right? And it's tough. You want to take your time trying to figure out how to get your arms in those positions. But then what you do, this is what I call the movement till I don't hurt anymore phase, right? So as you're doing this, what hurts, right? So I'll pick on myself. Inside of my right knee, all right, as I'm spinning, hurts a little. I'm actually feeling pretty good today. It's probably because this room is warm. Right, but normally when I get doing this, I will have an area in my back that feels a little bit tighter too. And then like we figured out in my right shoulder, I'll also feel a little bit. So what you'll find, Violet, is when you don't practice and you play every day, that is your practice, and that's perfectly okay. There's there's 5 practices we learned. The practice that you're referring to that you feel like you don't really do is the technical piece. You're not hitting balls. But if you were to take a saber, if you were to take a club, something to do some of these exercises with, you are in essence practicing and improving, right? Okay, so as you begin to do these exercises and you put yourself in motion, the goal of this whole exercise is to not hit a single golf ball until you don't hurt anymore. It might take a week, Jacques. No, it might take 50 to 100 of these spins, right? Yeah. Yeah. And if you're not adding to the injury, then maybe it's benefiting from doing this exercise and you're creating this motion. So now what we're going to do is we're going to tilt the spin, right? Because we don't play golf from up here in the air. We play golf with a bend to our body, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to slouch. And I'm going to explain why we're slouching and not posting into a posture. Because I can see you kind of flattening your back out and working on your posture. But what actually happens here, step up here and do exactly what you were doing. Go ahead and go into your posture. That's a better neutral spine right here, right, for Vicky. But when you first started, you had a little bit of an arch. And then what happens is, and we'll talk about lower backs real quick, because that's an issue, right? Your spine right here, if you see I stick my butt out backwards, what's happening is that lower back, all of these back muscles and butt muscles are flexing and pulling. So in order for my back to arch that way, these muscles shorten. They're not muscles that we typically shorten a lot. They get fatigued really, really quickly. So one of the fallacies in golf posture setup, and we got some great images around here, is that when you look, like there's an image right here of a flat, what appears to be a flat back, right, in the green image. So if you're right here and you're thinking, okay, how do I get, you've seen this before and you maybe even done it, or you've maybe seen a coach do it, okay, how do I get my back and my butt and everything in a flat line? Well, that's actually an incorrect thing for you to do, because what it does is it starts to put all of your lower back muscles into a tight position. So that's why I call it more of a slouch. If you do this, right, go ahead and stand, and then purposely arch your back and hold it just for a few seconds. Mine's hurting. Is yours hurting? Doesn't feel good. Now slouch the other way. It stretches. You can actually feel it stretching. So what happens when you're sitting in chairs, when you're sitting at the computer, you typically don't sit like this. Maybe on the sofa. But if you're sitting at your chair here, like we were, or you're sitting at your computer, you're thinking, I got to improve my posture, I'm going to pull my chest up. Well, what's actually happening is you're putting your lower back in flexion and tension. So that's what you want to do. You want to roll it out, right? So all you do is you take your saber and you just hang. Just hang your head a little, hang your shoulders a little. Now, you don't have to hang to the ground. We're not stretching a bunch of like hamstring or calf muscles or anything else in the lower back or in that back system. We're just like a cat, just doing that arch of the back. And then over just a short period of time, what you'll find is your lower back isn't tight anymore. So even when you're sitting in a golf cart and you're boom, 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 driving around, and maybe it's a slow day on the course, you're sitting. And whether you know it or not, those little muscles in your back are starting to fire. And so the tour players that walk all the time, they don't like riding in carts. In fact, Tiger Woods just came off of, what did he say, a year and a half? And he's been playing some golf, but he's been riding in a cart the entire time. And when he played in the Bahamas, he said one of the things that he really needs to get it more adjusted to is walking, because he's been playing in a cart the whole time, right? So we kind of have the opposite. But when you're focused on just the little things of those 5 things, now you have your body in mind, right? So when you're out playing, when you get to that phasey, that not focused, not in it, do some exercises, get the blood flow going. Think about something like, what's a better strategy for me to play this hole? So mentally you get more excited. Eat some snacks, eat an apple, eat some trail mix, eat some nuts, something that you can kind of keep your sugar levels consistent, right? So now we're going to get into technique. So how do I get better at my technique? So what you're going to do is take the saber and either put it in front of your chest, or actually let's all do that because it helps you to see it a little bit better. So then what I want you to do from here is just kind of tilt your body and let your lower back release. Don't be tight, right? Now right here, what I want you to do, in fact, I'll give everybody a golf ball. Set that golf ball out kind of right in front of you, somewhere close to where you might normally hit a shot from. And then what you're going to do, put it out maybe, see how I've kind of created a triangle that's maybe the distance the saber is away. All right, then what I want you to do is take that saber, put it across your shoulders, and then I want you to turn back and I want you to point from your perspective, from your eye view, the end of the saber at that ball. And I want you to then come back to the middle. All right? Then I want you to take the other side and point it. Right? And then go back again. Now what I want you to do is I want you to do, it's an inward body experience, right? It's proprioception. It's you being aware of what's going on in your body. When you go like this and you point it at that ball, close one eye and just really cover up that ball so you can't see it. Okay? Then go all the way to the other side. Keep that one eye closed. And you may feel like you have to adjust a little bit, right? And one way is harder, one way is easier. Okay? So now as you're turning, what I want you to do is do this exercise. I want you to think of your right shoulder and your right butt cheek or right pocket. Greg Norman did this. He would say right pocket on the backswing, right pocket back, left pocket back. So what I want you to do is use your hips and your pelvic rotation to free up what's going on in your shoulders. So when we usually start doing this, we think, oh man, this is kind of hard because you're using your upper back, your thoracic spine, and your rotation. But what you're doing now is you're gliding because you're pivoting that hip. Right? So even Jacques, who's got the bum knee, Jill said you got a left bum knee too, right? As you move and you let your legs kind of straighten, what happens is you start to create a better fluid movement, right? So Vicky, when you first started, you were doing the hip bump, right? So that's what you do when you got a baby and you're rocking, you're kind of bumping your hip like this, whereas what you want to do is spin. So as you go, now what you're going to feel is your knees somewhat straighten, not to a joint locking position, but just to a straightish position, right? And as you move your knees, then you're going to go. So now what you're noticing as you do this is you can hear that ball in the saber. So, right, so now what we're going to do is everybody go down here to the ball and stop. Okay, on the count of 3, we're going to go the other side. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, and then shift. Ready? 1, 2, 3, shift. Right, so they all kind of dropped. So now on your own, what I want you to do is develop a rhythm. So just stop for a second and listen to what mine is. So I'm down here. I'm going here. You don't have to let it settle. So we're combining rotation with timing, right? And it allows you to kind of inwardly focus on what your body's doing, but not just a mechanical shape that you're making in time. And then what you can do, once you get that saber, that ball drop down, you can, okay, stop for a second and listen to this one. It's not dropping, it's down here because centrifugal force is keeping it at one end. So I'm rotating fast enough, it's not making any sound, right? So guess what? If you have clean, true, mobile, right? Mobile and stable rotations, and it's faster, you hit it further, right? Because you're taking the tool. So this is what it looks like in the rotation, right? Symmetrical, free, speedy, right? Well, then if I take the saber, put it into myself as in my golf swing, if I start rotating my hips and shoulders, this is moving really fast because the inner part of that circle is moving quickly. The good news is most of us have enough literal arm speed to catch up, to take this and catch it up. But what a lot of us don't have is the body speed. And it doesn't have to be fast, it doesn't have to be super fast. If you increase it 1 mile an hour, it's the whip effect. If you increase the middle a little bit bigger, a little bit faster, it increases the end exponentially, right? So if I move this end slightly faster or slower, it increases the speed out there. Well, the golf ball doesn't know or care what you do with your body. All the golf ball knows is how hard it gets hit, how square it gets hit, and then it flies. Well, if you're moving faster and better, not just faster, but cleaner, truer, more consistently, more accurately, the ball gets struck more consistently, more accurately. And if you move consistently and accurately faster, well, then the ball gets hit further, right? So as we've been going through this, you've been speeding everything up, blood flow's going, there's a little bit more, whether you know it or not, you just improved your clarity in your mind. Everybody's thinking a little bit clearer because we got blood flow going. Now, the information I might be sharing early on when you were sitting, maybe entertaining and educational, just like it is entertaining and educational standing, but what has improved is our blood flow. So now we're actually comprehending it better. Our brain is actually working better because we're getting more oxygen. So when you're out on the golf course doing something like this with your club, you realize, you know, you're out with the girls group and you're like, man, this is slow today or whatever. Something's happening. And by the way, ladies play faster than men, but when you're in that, when you're out there and you're feeling like it's slow, just do some of these exercises, right? Some high knees. You can take this out and try to do some steps. Work your knees up to that saber. I mean, it's hard to get it all the way up there. Give yourself a goal, right? Go like this. Anything that you're doing will help improve your blood flow. And if it's focused on the correct movement, it's not only going to help blood flow, it's actually going to help your actual technique, right? What we'll do is we'll take a turn, because I don't want everybody kind of swinging at the same time, so we'll just shuffle around here. We're going to do this. We're going to go 3 spins. 1, 2, 3. In this station, we're going to take the heavy end. Right, so if you read on your saber, there's one end that says heavy and one that says light. Right, you're going to take the heavy end. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go 1, 2, 3 swings, and then we'll shift places. All right, and while the person is over here swinging their 3 times like this, we're just going to keep going 1, 2, 3 with our spins. So by the time you get round here, you'll have spun 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times for one swing. All right, so we'll trade. Violet, come on in over here. We'll just shift around in the circle, shift places with the person next to you. So Jacques, you're next. All right, so here we go. Just kind of 1 full rotation, 2 full rotations, 3 full rotations. So Violet, in your station, grip the heavy end. And then we'll go again, 3 swings. 1, 2, 3. All right, now we'll switch. Now, Jacques, when you get in there, you just grab the heavy end. All right, and take a step forward kind of in the middle of the mat here. That way you don't get too close to the back wall there. All right, so, yep, there you go. So we'll do 3 of these while you take 3 swings with the heavy end. Yep, you're good. Just golf swings. Yep, just don't hit the ball. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we'll shift. Jill's turn. Grab the end that says heavy, and while she does her 3, we'll do our 3. 1, 2, 3. Very good. All right, Bob, jump on over there. Grab that heavy end. Very good. And we'll do our spins in relative time to him. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. Vicky, jump on in there. Grab the end that says heavy. There you go. 1, 2, 3. All right. Cool. So what you'll find is if you follow basically 3 exercises, you're going to improve your golf swing. So we're going to add that was 2, the spin, And if you notice right here, it says heavy swish, right? So the next one is light snap. So go ahead and flip it over to where it says light. Hold it up in the air like this, right? So you have that, it says light snap there. Now, if you just hold it in front of you, right? There's a reason why it's called a saber is because it's like a sword, right? So if you hold it up in front of you and then you lower it down, that ball drops, right? So you raise it up, it's down in your hands, go like that. Now what you're gonna find in the golf swing, when we do 3 swings, it's gonna look like this. When we rotate again, we're gonna do that again, you're gonna come to the top of your backswing and pause. It's a long pause. And the reason why it's a long pause is because when you come to a stationary stop here, you've heard kinematics, you heard kinetic link, you heard kinesthetic movement, you heard some terms last night. Biomechanics is becoming bigger and bigger because we got to find something else to help people play the game of golf. But what happens is when you load that up in this end, your kinematics, which means the way you rotate the downswing, the way you engage your arms, and ultimately the way you accelerate the club through is very, very important. So as you all went through this rotation, none of you really had a tremendous snap. Everybody did a pretty good job of swinging, but the timing of the snap wasn't quite there. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna rotate again. You're gonna get 3 swings. It's gonna take a little longer. And this is the way you're gonna do it. You're gonna drop the saber. You're gonna set it. Don't swing it where you guys are. You hit something. In this station, set it, snap, right? Bring it over. So you can start down here, set, snap. Got it? All right, so Violet, hop on in there, and I'll help you. And while we're doing that, we're gonna do the same thing, spinning. Because spinning is the key. If you rotate, you're freeing up the motor to let all this happen. All right, so set it back there. All right, so when you get it back here, just relax this arm. Yeah, just let it set. Now what she's done is she set it in a good position. Now go ahead and snap it. You hear it click? Very good. Do 1 more or 2 more. Go ahead and set. Relax the arm, relax the shoulder, and snap. One of the misconceptions is a straight left arm. Not necessary. You're actually going to create more snap if you let your arms relax. And then snap it. There you go. All right, so come on around here, Jacques. Everybody else can either watch or spin while we're doing it, or both. Got the light in that says snap. There you go. Wind up and stop in your backswing. Very good. All right. So right in here again, just relax. Watch the range of motion that I can get for Jacques. Relax this arm more. Let it bend. Look at that. I just increased, I just increased the length of your swing by 2 feet. Now from here, go ahead and snap it. There you go. So it's going to feel a little bit different snapping it from that position. Just relax those shoulders. Yeah, so these muscles just relaxed. Shoulder just relaxed. So go ahead and snap it. That's faster. Right? So do it again 1 more time. So tension is the enemy. If you're tight, that's going to be difficult, right? So go ahead and snap it. There you go, right?